So what was the best part about Caleb Williams' performance against the Dallas Cowboys?
I'll tell you. So what's funny is a lot of people tell you, "Hey, don't read the comments." I'm always amused by what people comment on the YouTube video, and the best thing that someone in Bears, the Bears fan said, they said Tim looked genuinely happy breaking down the concepts for the first time in his life, and that's kind of exactly how I felt. Right? It was like there was a lot of what we thought I think we'd get with Ben Johnson, where I joke they're concept dimes, where it's just like it's drawn up so perfect. We're going to get somebody wide open. We take advantage of it. That was exciting to see, but it was also exciting to see Caleb hit some of these shots where I've come on and we've said, hey, we've kind of been critical of, hey, we got to hit this one or we got to throw a body up shot here. And even if our guy slows down, he's wide open. Let's just stick it on him. And he executed just that. I think when I really looked at it, the only miss that I was terribly concerned with was the screen, where it's like we motion to a screen and he dirts it. Simultaneously, it's like we can live with, right? Like you're gonna have even the best dirt it every once in a while. So to me, it's one of those where I just walked away. I was super pleased. He was so clean with his eyes and his feet, where he was when it was, hey, my eyes and my feet are tied to my progression. He wasn't rereading anything. It was really good. And then you guys know that the clip of us that went viral with the whole, hey, we're reloading a bunch of concepts. Guess what? We didn't reload much, so all the Twitter coaches that were like, oh, hey, that's super common to reload concepts. I guess not, because we didn't do it at all, really. And the outcome was pretty dang good.
And I'm looking at this, and as you know, Tim, your face after week one was just, you were exasperated trying to figure out what was going on because you had expected so much more. But I think we're seeing a normal level of progress between a first-year head coach who's kind of gotten his hands on the coaching duties, and now a quarterback who is following his lead. Do you see the progress being right where you want it as far as these two guys working together?
100%. And I think that's what, I hate saying this because it's just going to bring up bad feelings, but you guys remember the London game last year where we felt like, oh, look, man, we made this huge jump. That jump felt so much more unsustainable compared to this week. This week feels like consistent progress. Oh, hey, we're actually building on something. Whereas the London game last year just felt like, it felt like our OC got boozed up and didn't actually call the game. It was someone else in the box, right? Like that's what it genuinely felt like. It felt so different that you're like, okay, hey, is this sustainable? To me, it's like we're in such a better spot where we're consistently building versus last year. It felt like this jump was out of nowhere where you said from week 1 to week 2, he felt more comfortable. He looks way more comfortable in week 3, and we got to some more creative concepts. So to me, I think overall we're trending in the right direction. Do I expect it to be perfect from here on out, right? No, I don't think any of us do, but I do think what we're going to see is we're going to see limited operational mistakes. And I don't mean like pre-snap operation. I mean him actually working his eyes in the right spot on the progression based on the coverage. I think we're going to start to eliminate those errors. And then ultimately we're going to get what we all have been excited to watch, which is Caleb Williams and his talent executing within an NFL offense. And then, of course, you get the DJ Moore touchdown where it's like, that's Caleb Williams being special, right? Hey, scramble around in the red zone. DJ sits down, boom, we hit him. That's what we know Caleb can do. And then if we can get him to operate the offense 80% of the time, this thing's going to be pretty awesome when it's all said and done.
It is my first time getting to talk to Tim Jenkins on this show. I'm usually on in afternoons, Tim. It's Matt Spiegel sitting in with Mark Grote and Marshall Harris, and I loved that whole answer you just gave about the natural progress is what it feels like with these guys, because this is our third data point. It's not like we can sit and talk about the London game and other stuff. Like this is new territory. That touchdown that you mentioned, the scramble to DJ Moore when he was special, that was the 19th play of that drive. And at no other point did he have to make a throw on the run. Like he scrambled right, or not scrambled, he did a zone read keeper right. He did a zone read keeper left. They ran the ball out of the eye. They ran the ball from single set. They ran an end around. Like they did everything on that drive with no operational mistakes. I felt like that extended drive was kind of a vision of what Ben is capable of and wants to do, and a lot of it's in the run game just to set up everything else.
Yeah, well, I think like when you see those end around runs, to me, those are everybody kind of jokes about them as, oh, hey, this is like a reverse, it's like a special play. You go watch Ben Johnson, it's really not. It almost feels like he runs OP around more than he runs actual OP, right? It's like he runs the around part of it more than he actually runs inside zone. It's just that's how he dials it up. The one thing that I'll tell you about Ben Johnson is those 19 play drives. How great is it to watch us as the Bears go down and execute that? Also knowing that that's worst case scenario, right? That means we didn't pop any explosives and it still finished with, hey, 6 points on 19 plays to where you just controlled the entire game from that point forward. I think, yeah, that one was great. To me, the Loveland early in the game was awesome, especially when you peel it back on the tape, because I really talked about it in the breakdown where Loveland gets rerouted. I mean, it was a real hit on the reroute. So you normally have this where on paper it's, hey, I'm going to 12, I'm going to midpoint this to 14. Loveland almost goes to the ground. He gets rerouted so hard, and his aiming point is still 14. And we got to remember, that's a rookie. That's great for him to still end up there. And then, oh, by the way, what did we talk about week one? We said, hey, Caleb needs to hang on to these shot plays a little bit more. What did he do? He gave it an extra hitch. Loveland gets there, delivers it to him. That, to me, was really great growth from a rookie tight end and a second-year quarterback on something that we said has to get fixed. And he fixed it from week 1 to week 3. So to me, that play was kind of a perfect example of these guys really knowing the offense and executing exactly what we want.
And how about the first touchdown to Rome when Rome is open, having won his jam there at the line of scrimmage, and he just puts the arm up,
Yep.
like the mailbox, and he just throws it to him. It reminded me of the one to DJ in week 1 when he didn't just throw it to the open guy running down the sideline.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see me, but I just gave you a big old thumbs. That's perfect, right? Because that's what we wanted to see. We said, hey, we have a generational talent at quarterback. We know that it's hard to adjust that DJ Moore route, but we've got to do what, hey, we got to body him up. We got to put it on his numbers. Even if he doesn't score, it's fine. Let's generate the big play. And then everybody on Twitter says, no, that's impossible. That's too hard. It's a really hard throw. We can't do that. And then guess what? He does it in week 3. So to me, it's like we are seeing growth from week 1 to week 3 exactly the way we wanted it. We've also like seen the hiccups in week 2. And I think it's important to just be honest about what you're seeing, because it's in week 2, it didn't feel great, right? It was a horribly run game. I feel like we were reloading too many concepts. Caleb wasn't executing it. Now in week 3, it was like, dang, this was darn near perfect. If we just keep on progressing, keep on fixing the fixables like he did from week 1 to week 3 with, like you just touched on, the, hey, mailbox throws is wide open. I think the sky's the limit. And I just think it's important that we're noticing this growth and we're seeing them correct issues behind closed doors that we've said, hey, this is going to be an issue if we don't get it done. And they've gotten it done. So to me, I think this is like as optimistic as you can be since I started covering the Bears, which I know hasn't been as haunting as you guys talking about them. But I'll tell you, I lived through the field stuff and I've lived through last year. So to me, it's about as optimistic as I think I've ever been when it comes to this offense.
Yeah, haunting, haunted, those are all good adjectives to describe the many years of, in my case, being a fan of the Bears or covering the Chicago Bears. That is the voice of Tim Jenkins, founder and CEO of Jenkins Elite. We are at the Budweiser Brickhouse Tavern. It is Rahimi, Harris, and Grote, along with Matt Spiegel here today. I think one of my favorite throws of the day, Tim Jenkins, was the second quarter throw to Luther Burden, 29 yards down the middle of the field, eventually leading to the Cole Kmet touchdown. That's a drop in the bucket right there, Tim.
Yeah, and you got to love it, too, because it's in 2 minutes, right? You're sitting there, you're in no huddle, we're trying to get down the field. To me, what the best darn part of it was we drew up a concept that you can only draw up with a kid like Caleb Williams. We had this, what we call a deep hank, which is where you get 10 yards right over the ball and you sit down, and DJ Moore runs it. So guess what? Everybody jumps it, right? Because it's DJ Moore. And then we slide Burden in on the deep over. We've got Rome on the big stick at 8 post, meaning, hey, get to 12 yards, 3 steps to the corner, and then go hit your head on the goalpost, right? That's how high that post is. And you sneak the deep over from across the field, and he fits it in a window that I'm telling you guys, I don't know if most quarterbacks could hand it through, right? And he fit it down the field. So to me, that was absolutely perfect from Caleb, but it also shows you how excited Ben is to work with a guy like this because he's drawing that play up because he has Caleb Williams under center. And this is not a shot at Jared Goff, but that's not one you draw up with Goff, right? It's just not. That's not his game. Simultaneously, we saw Jared go into Baltimore last night, right? And work over a pretty good Ravens team. So it's not a shot at Jared, but it is a point of look at what this offense can be when you have Ben Johnson dialing up stuff specifically for a kid as talented as Caleb Williams.
I'm curious, Tim, to your the way you observe this. How much better has the offensive line play looked from week 1 to 2 and now 3? Because to me, I always felt like this group would eventually gel, and it seems like they are doing so. I know the Cowboys defense is nothing to write home about, but still, I see them getting better.
Yeah, and I would even be, and I get it, right? Russell Wilson tore him apart last week. I would even cautious to say like the Cowboys are that bad of a football team, right? They took the Eagles to the wire. Like I don't think they're that terrible of a football team. What I would say, listen, I'm also my wife's from Texas, so I kind of feel obligated to defend the Cowboys at times. Otherwise, my father-in-law is going to kind of say, "Hey, you're giving her half, and she's keeping the kids." So I will say that I feel obligated to say that. When it comes to that offensive line, though, I'll tell you, I also think we're putting them in a better situation protection-wise. And we talked about, hey, Caleb was maybe struggling with certain stuff. We also got to give him credit. A lot of stuff like that at the NFL level, protection-wise, goes through the quarterback. So if he's getting them into the right protection looks, I think Ben is learning a lot about this line too. And hey, how can we manipulate some of these protections to get better 2-on-1s? Hey, can we chip? Can we add some help here? So to me, I think not only are they clicking, but I think our quarterback and our head coach, really coordinator too, right, is learning, hey, how can I manipulate our sets? How can I manipulate our slides to add help where we need it? Which that's another thing to just get excited about, because I'm not sure we've ever really had that in Chicago where it was like, hey, let's go ahead and add help where we need it. Versus last year, it felt like sometimes it's like, nope, these are the plays we run, and if we can't execute them, so be it. That's the player's fault, and that's not true at all, right? It's our job to put them in the best situation, and we're starting to see that consistently, which, I can't tell you the last time I feel like we've seen it on film in Chicago.
We never have. Tim, been here for decades, and I mean, what you just described was Matt Nagy with one scheme and just doubling down and tripling down and quadrupling down, expecting guys to get it, and they never did. Did you see Ben post game with the incredibly excitable chant in the locker room with the players, and Caleb like high-fiving him? It seems like it's a real relationship, like where he's hard on guys, but he's hard on himself, and he admits faults with himself, and there seems to be some genuine emotions and dare I say trust going on in a hard coaching relationship. From the outside, it appears that way.
Yeah, I think you're dead on. I think that speech, I think that all that clip, I think it's super genuine. What I'll tell you is I think Caleb is mature enough to understand a guy like Ben Johnson, who's going to be diabolically hard on you, is the best thing for you if you're uber talented. Like if you want to look at a guy who I think could have benefited from super hard coaching, who I played with, was Sam Bradford. I think sometimes you get these guys where you draft them number 1 overall. They have all the talent in the world, and I think people are on eggshells to coach them, right? I remember sitting in meeting rooms and Schottenheimer's yelling at me. I'm not even on the field, and it's like he's coaching Sam Bradford through this kid from Fort Lewis College, right? Like, I get it. If I was going to be a punching bag, I'm more than happy to be a high-paid punching bag. That don't bother me one bit. What I will say, though, is what Ben is doing for Caleb, I think is the best thing for him. I think Caleb's mature enough as an athlete to understand that, and I think that's where you're seeing that genuineness from the relationship is they both know what the task at hand is. They both know the end goal, and I think they're both willing to pay the price to get there, which to me is just observing what we've had from a coaching perspective, this is the best. What's refreshing about it is there is no, oh, hey, listen, we were only a field goal away or whatever that we used to hear up at the podium. It's like, no, hey, we don't practice hard enough to win games. Like hearing genuine feedback on where we are as a football team is super refreshing. And then seeing how hard he is on our top players, I think, is also refreshing because it's just going to at the end of the day, it's going to make everybody better. And then I think that relationship will long term, of course, be more, I guess you could say, fun, but it's going to come because we've earned that right versus just starting there and laughing on the sideline while Caleb Williams rolls his eyes. And then 3 weeks later, you're looking for a job. So to me, it's like, I think it's a much better situation than we've been in.
Tim, thank you so much. Always appreciate your insights, and hopefully the comments all be positive for you this week, sir. Thank you.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.